All right, so I'm already taking a break from doing rivets on the crane because I have this other little thing I gotta get fixed before next Tuesday. This little sumbitch, because it shut off, and I don't know why. I haven't looked in and found a reason why the ESC shut off, and it shut off and restarted the start process while I was flying. That was the bad auto.
6 minutes.
So, and what really happened was that right there. It broke it off right at the bolt like it typically does when you drill a hole through the landing gear, which I'm going to have to do again. So I got to get this thing kind of remade. I've been wanting to do skids. I'm going to do a really quick thing on them. I got a rough kind of thing on here, and it's really hard to see with this, but these are the fronts, and there is 13 millimeters of difference of height between the front and the rear, just the way this helicopter works. My big EC-145 was the same way. I got to quickly make these up, so I got my cool little telescoping gauges on here so that I can measure the heights on this. I've got it kind of balanced on here, and it's not doing very well, but when I measured it, this skid was flat because that's the only one that's not bent, and kind of eyeballed it all there because I have, some pictures of 145s and whatnot. This will be the same as Lakota, so yeah, we're going with that. So I'm trying to do this kind of quick because I don't have much time. All right, I'm gonna do this. I got my two measurements. I got 53, and then I've got 40 millimeters from this edge right here. And I have this to make sure that I am flush with this edge. And then I have the height of the actual skid. These will be the leg heights. This is the skid. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this out here. Since this is the one I have done, I'm going to put that right there on the height of 53 millimeters. And this will be where I cut off for the skid. Then, that gives me my width, because I'm just eyeballing it. So now I need to make the rear gear to that height meet up at the same point on the skids, where this would meet like right there. Yeah, easy as fucking pie. Yeah, I did something different. So this was the first front gear that I had, and I made this, but I noticed that this rounded part was a little too big of an arc, so I was shortening it up. And so I said, well, I got the back ones, let's make those the rear ones, and got these all drawn in here. And so this is where they meet up. This is where they meet up. These are the angles I kind of eyeballed. Turned out to be like 30 degrees. So now I'm going to take this clean, unbent one and try to make that bend on both sides at the same time. All right, there we go. Kind of close. Where they kind of meet and where they kind of meet. Kind of level, and that's what we're going to go with. Nothing like quick and dirty, huh? All right. The skids themselves are fairly easy. You just kind of eyeball it and get it up here. Kind of use some of the references of the full size against the model, which are not accurate because this should be about right there, right in the middle of this, and it's not. And this one I can't really tell, but I can go by the door. This one should be right about the middle of the door, and this one's way short. So we're correcting this. So, but these are always the easiest part. You just eyeball it and then make 2. Now, what we got to do is I've got these mechanical tabs. These are a mechanical way of holding them together. So I will drill 2 holes in the corresponding spot with where this groove is on this fuselage, so that I get them straight. And that's what's nice. These ones are actually straight whenever they're on here. The only goofy thing is when you notice, you can see there are 2 different angles on the legs that come down. So I'm going to have to drill 2 different holes in one on one plane and then another on a slightly different plane, just so that these will line up centered on the skid, how they sit in here like that. Yeah. And this is how I'm going to do those angles. So it's 195 millimeters from the center of the front leg to the center of the back leg. And, this is all just eyeballed. Of course it is. So now what I got to do is I have my marks on here. And now what I will do is, by eyeball, I will take the fronts, and what I'll do is I will line them up on the skid there. You can kind of see. And get them, oh, come on, stop flipping around back and forth. Okay, so there will be the center mark for the skid on the front side. And then on the back side, it will be quite a bit more of an angle. So, and I want that centered on the leg, on the skid. So we're going to put a mark on it, like right there. Then drill some 3 millimeter holes, and we're going to braze this bitch together. All right, and here are my marks for the width of the skids, where the holes are going to be drilled. And took a little punch that I've got made here and just put a little mark there so the drill doesn't walk all over the place, and we'll get these holes drilled. All right, got them all plugged in, got it kind of squared up to the table. So this one's square. We measure from the table out to the ends to make sure those are equal. We plug everything in, make sure all the little ski ends are straight, just like that. And then we'll go in here and we'll tack these. I have a little magnetic thing to kind of hold it, but this one is kind of tight because these holes were drilled cockeyed, of course, but it's holding it straight. So we just got to make sure that everything is straight. I get this one tacked, then this one moves back and forth, and I can get the 195 millimeters in between the leg centers. And we'll do that probably tomorrow, but I'm going to throw a little tack on it tonight just to make sure I know what the hell I'm doing. Tack well done. What you're seeing there is all the flux that hasn't been cleaned off, but that's just a tack. This one is just a tack. I have to go in and fill this gap that's in here. Yeah, it's kind of ugly right now, and it's really hot. You can hear it kind of cooling off and clicking and popping and doing that, but there we go. So we'll get this finished up tomorrow and hopefully onto that damn thing so that I can fly it. All right, so I got it tacked together and doing some test fitting, and I knew this was going to be an issue where these tubes are slightly thicker, well, a lot thicker. They're 1.5 millimeters thicker than the old skids, and consequently I gotta shave out a little bit to get these to fit. It goes down in there. If I force it, I don't really want to force it, so I'm doing a little trimming to see how it looks. I got a little bit of material cut out because it still wasn't setting quite all the way down without forcing it. But what's really nice is I've got these permagrit coarse there's a rotary burr bit things. These things right here. This box kit of 7 rotary burrs. You know, this is by Permagrit. And you can get this at the fine establishment of Tyler Gray Models. Oh yeah, now we're talking. Look at it. There's no gap. Nice. There's a slight gap there, but that's not a big deal. But there is where it sits on there. And sitting on there. Doesn't look too damn bad. I think we're going to go with it. And this is really hard to see out here. But there are the new skids for this one. And they'll be much stronger. Except for the hole that I've got to drill in the legs in order to mount the damn things. And if I was going to do it for the first time, I would use a small, like a 2mm size of a screw instead of a 3mm size of a screw. That way the hole would be smaller. There'd be more material to, you know, take a bad auto hit. But that's what we're going to have to go with because this is an existing helicopter on here and whatnot, so I don't look too dang bad. It looks like it's leaning, well, it does lean back. The helicopter leans backwards because the back one is lower than the front. But that's the way it is. But it's good. We're gonna get it drilled, get it finished up as far as the brazing goes, fill the ends, and then get them primed and painted. All right, here it is on a different surface so you can kind of see the way these look slightly better. So these, you know, those skids are thick on a 145. What's nice is they are the same diameter for the legs as it is for the actual skid tubes. So it makes it nice. You just got one set of skids, one set of tubes, and weld them all together. What? There. Now we got a little Bondo in the ends and all cleaned up, and the joints all cleaned up and everything, and got some fresh coat of flat black paint on there. Actually, this is a second coat, and then we can put it on that thing after tomorrow. There we go. And there it stands. If I only had this much drive to get shit done in such a small amount of time. 24 hours it took me to actually make these skids, get them painted, get them mounted, get them brazed and everything. The only thing I'm not doing is I'm not going to do the anti-skid strikes that go up here. I've tried it and I don't have the right drill bits to be able to screw into the piece here. So I'm just, fuck it, I'm not doing it. It's too much of a pain in the ass. But there it is. Skids in 24 hours. Don't ask me to do anything else.